Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. Today, this is pre-recorded, and I am here with my friend Pam Drinnon, who I know a lot of you have worked with before on my live chats when she does the calibrations and the emotional codes. So today, we just wanted to come on and bring in some of the ways that Pam got herself involved in this and her journey into what she does. So I'm just going to let her talk and we're going to go from there. And then if you come back, and we'll be on next week, of course, if you come back and you have any further questions, put them in the notes and we'll ask her then. Okay. So Pam, with no further ado, I'll let you go ahead and start. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. And I just love being on your show, Allie. You're so much fun to talk to, and you're such a great host, a great, interviewer, too. I want to interview you sometime
Yes,
so you can
please.
share. So we could even talk about it some today if we want to. But anyway, yes, my thing that the reason I wanted to share today was because I want to talk to people about the wonderful things regarding muscle testing and what it can do for us and why we need it. But most important thing is muscle testing for years now has made me super intuitive. Even if I didn't muscle test, which I do with my fingers, it's called a Power Reflex test, I still get the answer. But I have had to learn to trust it. See, that's the only thing about muscle testing. You've got to trust it once you get it. And because some people do all kinds of different things to become intuitive, but this really works. And that's why I wanted to share that with you today. Um, what started me on this journey was because I had an out of body experience in 1965. This is years ago when nobody knew any of this stuff that was going on. Not us anyway. And I'm living in a little town up East Tennessee and in the mountains. And but I was in a very sad time in my life. My parents are both deceased. I was about 21 or 22 when this happened. I was married, had two little ones then, and I was just miserable in my marriage. And I can remember laying down that night and just really crying and asking God to take me. I did not want to be here anymore, and I knew my children will be fine without me and their little teeny things. But I thought, well, my husband, he'll take good care of them. But he wasn't taking good care of me. So I was just, I was just so sad. And I remember I started praying. And I didn't know too many prayers, so I said the 23rd Psalm and a few other prayers and things that I learned up along the way. And I would go back and forth, but I didn't have anything else. I was wide awake, couldn't go to sleep. My husband was next to me, snoring, sleeping, I'm tore all to pieces. Anyway, I felt myself after a while to start, because it was like a mantra, the back and forth. And I got really sleepy, and I could just feel, but what I felt was that myself was being drawn back into my body. I never will forget, it wasn't I was going out, I was coming within. And then all of a sudden, I was literally lifted out of my body by this angel and this presence. I thought it was God. And it cradled me in its arms like I was a little baby. It was that small, it was huge. In fact, I was never allowed to look at it because I've heard that angels can be scary looking if you have never seen one. So the next thing I knew, we literally zoomed up into heaven. It was just like G-force, like we're there. And then we're suspended out in space. And I'm out here looking around, like, oh my God, where am I? This is so exciting to me. But what I knew was that I was back home. I was back where I belonged. I knew that. And I thought, oh, it's over with now. And I can remember thinking, I don't have to worry about how to make a living or anything. I'm back where I'm supposed to be. And then all of a sudden, what was happening though, the whole time this angel was holding me, it was literally pouring love into me. I mean, I could feel it. It was tangible. It was just ripple after ripple. Actually, it was orgasmic. felt like it was so electric. My body was just tingling. And, I could hardly breathe. It was so exciting. It was amazing. Then all of a sudden, I looked out and I saw all these little lights, and I realized I thought it was stars, but then it was angels, and it was host of angels, and they were singing this fabulous. I don't know what it was. Music. What music? It was toning. It was just glorious. It was just all I did was cry. I could not quit crying because their toning was literally pouring more love into me. So,
Sure.
and that was what I had been praying for when I left my body, was I wanted to be loved. I
Sure.
felt so unloved after my parents left and was not treated fairly or right, whatever. It's one of those things you get into you wish you hadn't. But anyway, so here I am. And I remember I said my husband's name. I said, "Do you hear the music?" And then I was right back in my body. I was so upset. And he said, "What music?" He said, "Go back to sleep." So I did. I didn't. He did. I got up and walked the floor for half the night trying to figure out where I'd been, what had happened to me. Well, that really, I didn't realize at the time, but that took me on my journey to do muscle testing, because I said, "Okay, God, I'll stay here in my body, but I want to be happy, and but I want to know how to get back there. When I leave here, I want to come back there where I went when I left
Yeah.
this time." And I can't. That's why that was, and actually, it really has led me to everything, one thing after the other. I got into beauty business for a while, and then I did massage. I was shiatsu massage therapist. I did a lot of healing stuff. Of course, working in the beauty business, you're working on people's heads anyway, so I did a lot of that too.
Uh-huh.
And but I just I just see my life when I got into well, what happened was in 1982, I was divorced and I was really sick and I had arthritis and it was just all over me. And I didn't know where it came from, but later on I did figure it out and I got well and I got what it was like a miracle healing. Everything was like always a miracle. And my prayers were answered again. But I remembered I was laying on the couch one morning, just crying my eyes out because I was hurting so much. And I thought about I would try to meditate. And so I remember when I did, I could see this man standing in front of me. And he was so cute. He had a little button down collar, his pink shirt and everything. And he said, "I'm Michael." And I'm going, "Okay." And he said, "I come here to help you." So he literally came around behind me, and I could tell he was going up and down my back because my back was out at the time. Oh, I was just a mess. And he said, "I've never
Wow.
seen anything like this." And then I started crying. He said, "Don't cry." He said, "I'm going to help you. You're going to help." And the next week, I went to my chiropractor. I had a slipped disc. He
Uh-huh.
was able to get that disc in. He'd been working on me for 3 months. And finally, that disc went in. And then after that, then I started figuring out detoxing and took me on the health path and everything. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, it just got me on this path to all this. Then
Uh-huh.
after I got healed, I left LA. I was living in Los Angeles then with my family out there. And then I moved back to Tennessee. And when I came back, I had been studying, the muscle testing and everything. And I
Mhm.
met these two chiropractors and nutritionists. And they started teaching me how to muscle test with my fingers. Because when I studied massage, we learned muscle testing, but it was just pushing the arm, doing the arm
Right.
or the leg, to test the muscle. So so they got me excited about that. So I learned how to do that. And then they kind of took me under their wings and started teaching me all the stuff, about how to go through your body and how to look at it and find out where there's problems and stuff. Well, wasn't long after that I found Dr. Nelson's book, The Emotion Code, and I
Mhm.
got certified in that. And then after that, I got certified in the Body Code, and
Mhm.
then after that, I fell and fractured my back. I'm in Memphis, Tennessee, and so after I got well, my son helped me move up here to be close to my other son, Wayne, because he knew I wanted to live up here. And I just fit in.
Yes, you do.
absolutely.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot when I got up here why I fit in here too. The
Uh-huh.
best. But I loved LA. I fit in out there too.
Sure.
So
Yeah. You're a
progressively
West Coast
open.
gal. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
anyway, I got so when I got with my mind, where do we go? I'm trying to think.
It's
24.
okay. It's
Uh,
okay.
I
When you moved to Seattle, well, to the
well
Seattle
when I
area.
moved to
Yeah.
Seattle,
Yeah.
that was in 2014. In 2015,
Oh,
I
okay.
walked in to the Soul Foods, and
Uh-huh.
Nakia was there, the owner, and I'd been in there for a whole year, just never saw her. And we met, and I asked her if she would let me read for her. And I did a body coat on. She just loved it. She hired me on the spot. So she gave me a day to work because it was hard to get in. There was no place to do this work, you
Right.
know.
Yes.
So then I got it to like 3 days and muscle testing and everything. Then I got into up to 4 days. Now, pandemic happened. That was it.
Oh, yeah. That
We,
screwed
but
everything up.
she,
Yeah.
but anyway, she wanted me to work every day. But it was great to be wanted. But anyway, I've been doing that for this long, so I have lots of experience. But I noticed that along the way, studying Dr. Hawkins' book, Power
Hmm.
versus
Oh,
Force,
yeah.
because
Oh, yeah.
that was part of me learning to muscle test too, and because
Yeah.
I wanted to learn his way, and so I
Hmm.
started doing that, and then I came up. Well, what I did when I first got there, after I started working with Nikki, I started teaching classes there, and also I taught them at a health food store in Redmond, and so I started teaching the Power Reflex Method, which is
Oh, yeah.
the muscle testing. That's I just know. My son named that because one day I was sitting at his table when I was visiting in Tennessee. He said, "Mom, what are you doing? The Power Reflex?" And I said, "Yeah, that's it." Uh, but anyway, so that's how the name came. But I
Okay.
decided what I what really upset me when I started learning what I was learning from these doctors and from the um, nutritionists was I thought, God, they're keeping all this stuff secret from us about the body and how we can chest it and everything. And I thought
Yeah.
everybody can do this. This isn't,
Everybody can. Yeah.
but you know what? Not everybody was. The thing about muscle testing, to get good at it, you got to do it all the time. It's a skill, and the
Yeah.
better you do, and then you get to where you get so good at, you know it. Even you
Yeah.
start the muscle test and you go, and then the answer just pops in.
Right.
And now I'm at this point, especially with my son. I'll be thinking about him, and he'll come down and walk through my door, down in my bedroom. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
I mean, within a minute, I'm going, oh God. So I know that I'm really
Yes. It's the
tapping in now.
connection.
More and
Definitely.
more, it's just gotten so
More is
much
opening.
better, and I just love being able to do that.
Mhm.
But I think that what it's just time that everybody.
Yep.
One thing,
I agree
what
with
it's
you.
done for me, it has made me feel empowered. It's made me
Sure.
know that I can take care of myself. I can look at all my organs and everything, what's going on with me, but I can also teach other people how to do it. But
Right.
if you don't even some people don't want to do all that, but you do want to learn a muscle test. And there's different ways of muscle testing. You just got to find your way, your path,
Hmm.
your pattern.
Hmm. Yeah.
And so with Dr. Nelson, who taught the body code, the way he muscle tests is like this. He puts
Yeah.
these two things together, yeah, and does that. Well,
Yeah.
and that I can do that too. But
But you
the
go
thing
this way.
is, I like to
Right.
do this. I learned this because you
Uh-huh.
can't. It's not good to be out. They're doing all this trying to talk to people. Here, I can just put my hand down here and just ask all kinds of questions. That's why I love that. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, you can do dowsing, you can do all kinds of
Sure.
different things, but this is so easy. I can walk into a room, 50 people in 10 minutes. I'm gonna tell you who's gonna love you, who's gonna be your best friend, who you don't want to
Yeah.
hang out with, just by calibrating them through
Yep.
muscle testing. That's what
That's
people need to be able to do. So you feel safe where you are. I and what I wanted to talk, there are so many things that you can muscle test, which is I was trying to pull them up on my computer. All right, first of all, I gave myself all right, here we go. I got to go back here. I want to go back to when I lived in I went back in 1997. I left there in 85. Went back to Tennessee. Went back in 1997, and I met Dr. Hugh Lynn, who does the Ho'oponopono.
Uh-huh.
I just love
Yeah.
him. Anyway, Holly Alkali is what he calls himself. But anyway, I met him, and he started teaching us about the subconscious mind. I mean, things that I didn't even know. And
Hmm.
he said that your subconscious mind is just a little child. And he also taught of the Huna philosophy.
Hmm.
The subconscious mind is named the Unipili. Unipili means grasshopper. So, and that's how
Oh,
the subconscious mind is. The little grasshopper is here taking care of this, taking care of because it
it's
takes
like
care
Kung
of
Fu.
everything.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness. Remember that
is
show
it?
Kung Fu? He always called her Grasshopper.
Yeah, right.
Yes, yes.
And then, and the conscious, that's the subconscious. The
Uh-huh.
conscious mind is the mother. Subconscious is the child, the Unipili. The conscious mind is the mother, Uhani. That's her Hawaiian name. And
Hmm.
then the superconscious mind is the Amakua. Amakua means utterly trustworthy one. That's the father that no matter what, you can
Okay.
trust what this superconscious mind says. Well, I'm sitting there and I said, well, what about angels? He said, well, what do you mean? I said, is there an angel there? You know, do you, he said, your superconscious mind is your angel, is your guardian angel. And that was what I had been looking for. Is like, what is my guardian angel? The whole time, always searching, always reading everything I could find, books, stories, and everything. And I want to have a day where I have some great angel stories I like to share
Sure.
too that have happened over me over the way that are real and true. But
Uh-huh.
but anyway, so after I found out, but he said, your Pam, he said, your subconscious mind is just 3 years old. He said, that's what's running your life, 3-year-old child. Well,
Uh-huh.
okay. But then I thought, well, okay, I'm going to, he said, and his whole class was making a relationship with the subconscious. And he
Okay.
said, that means you put it in your lap and you hug it and you love it. What would you do to a 3-year-old? How would you take care of it? All he needs
Oh,
love and protection and
sure.
watching over. And,
Hmm.
and just, it just wants to be acknowledged all the time. So
Hmm.
I started out letting Sweet Pea, that was her name. Well, I went to this great woman who, after Holly Alkali talked about him, then I met this other kahuna. She was a woman, and she took us to meet the subconscious. And that's when I met Sweet Pea. And
Okay.
Sweet Pea was so tore up at me because she said, all you do is work all the time. You never play with me. We never have any fun. And,
Oh,
I mean, I'm hearing every of this. I try
yeah.
not to make anything up at all, and I don't. But I just was thinking about that, and I thought, well, you're right,
Yeah.
Anyway, so I started including her, and so I let her dress me, and I just said, "What do you want to wear?" And I just pull things out. Honey, I've never ever once had to worry that I looked okay once I let her start picking out my wardrobe. And I changed 3 or 4 times just because she didn't like what I
She
had
didn't like what.
on. Oh no, we're not wearing that today. Okay.
Oh,
So it
wow.
starts like that. So then, but the way this works is, I know I'm jumping around a lot. The way it works is the subconscious mind has to be taken care of by the mother, the conscious mind. And
Hmm.
that's but we've ignored this little part of us, this little child in us that never went away. And so once I started working with her and working, listening to my conscious mind, don't do this, take care of this, make sure she's got her needs met. Are you doing everything, eating right? All the things that we know to do that the little subconscious to keep her happy. And what happens is when the subconscious mind and the conscious mind become one, and they eventually will when you work with them long enough. Because I had
Hmm.
muscle tests about her, about my conscious mind, and when the subconscious and the conscious mind become one, then they become the healer. Then you become, the healer, and that's what we want to do. And so
Right.
that you can do all these things that Holly Alkali.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Anyway, so, but the superconscious mind, the guardian angel, see, this is how it goes. It goes from subconscious mind, which is the lower, the middle is the conscious mind, the mother, child and mother, Amakura, the father, then the divine. The superconscious mind is connected to the divine, to God,
Sure.
to all there is.
Yeah.
And so then after that, after I met Sweet Pea, then I was introduced to Beautiful Beloved. That was my guardian angel's name. That's what I was told.
Yeah.
That was her name. It was a she. And so then I would start talking with her, just with Sweet Pea and Beautiful Beloved, and I'm muscle testing, asking all my questions and everything. And this went on for several years. And then one day, I guess 2022, I was with my son who was just recovering from cancer. He was free. He'd been really sick for a long time. Anyway, so we got that taken care of, and I'm with him, and I just hadn't seen him in a long time, and I was trying to muscle test, and I couldn't muscle test him. I said, "What's wrong?" And, I'm trying to talk to Sweet Pea or Beautiful Beloved, and then this voice said, "You're not going to talk to them anymore. You're just going to talk to me." And I'm going, "Well, who is me?" And so this is God. And I'm going, "Okay, I get to talk with God." God, and he said, "I'm who you always been working with. He said, you didn't think you were good enough to talk to me, so you had to go through Sweet Pea and
Okay.
Beloved,
Yeah.
And so really, anyway, that's what got me there. So, but I know this might sound a little woo-woo to people out there.
No.
And how
I
come?
think, yeah, I think most people would agree that this is a possibility. Just a couple things I wanted to interject. The first thing is that whatever it is we decide we want to master, we have to know that it takes some time, but that it's possible, and that's exactly what you're doing. But what I want to know is, when did you integrate the body or the emotional code with the calibration? When did you integrate it? Did you read and then find out later, or go ahead?
I read it and then I found out later. Well, I was at a huge conference and Dr. Wayne Dyer was there, and he was promoting that book. It was one of Louise Hayesby's seminars she had in Vegas years ago. And I Can Do It was the name of the thing. So I went to that. And so I bought the book. And I didn't pick up the book for a while, but someone said something. And I thought, well, I can calibrate. I can do all that. Well, this guy that I was dating. And when I calibrated him, he was at 480. But when I calibrated me, I was at 680. And I thought, no wonder. It's always like fitting a square peg in a round hole. We just were not a match. On some levels, we were. But I knew then that we would, I couldn't be with someone that calibrated, lower than me. And that's why it never worked. That's when I really let go of that relationship. And that's when I really got in calibrate. From then on, I calibrated everything. And that was probably, 20, from about 2000 somewhere. Anyway, so I've been doing this for a long time before I even got here. And once I got here, I really felt skilled in it enough, and I had practiced enough.
Right.
And then I just started working on everybody and teaching people, that wanted to learn. I found that most people that really were interested were the healers, And most people, just the general population, well, why do I even want to learn that? That's too hard. This is not easy. But, honey, when you get it, you got it. You can go anywhere.
Yeah.
But
It really is.
There's all kinds of ways to muscle test and sway test. And Dr. Nelson, he does the ring test. But there's lots of videos out there. But no one takes it to where you get to work with. I want to work with the angels. I want to work with God. I want to be, when I'm talking, I want to be right up there, making sure I'm making that connection for me and to help other people. But I guess more than anything, that's what I just wanted to say, that it can go as far as we wanted to, the muscle test. We can just, when I first started muscle testing, I was so sick, I could not eat hardly anything. And because I was so allergic to gluten, didn't know what my problem was. That was way back
Mm-hmm.
then. And
Mm-hmm.
so my chiropractor, I was out of town and I kept calling it. Is Pam just not practicing enough? And I said, yes, I am. He said, no, you're not. I said, well, I can't get it. It's not working. And he said, okay. He said, keep practicing. And then one day, I mean, I got it. It just clicked in
You got it.
and I could
Yeah.
ask everything. But I don't know how long it's going to take people. Everybody's
Right.
different.
Right.
Everyone gets it differently. But
Everyone
up
is different.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
but up until then, when I was muscle testing food, I mean, I go in, just look at the menu, and I could just run my finger down, my finger would go no. I would, and it would say, "Don't eat that." I knew I was supposed to eat it, but
Wow.
there are some things that had gluten in it that I didn't know, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's how that really saved my life. I mean,
Sure.
this muscle test has really saved my life because I can. Then after that, I just tested everything, and
Yeah.
I got really excited and knew that everything has energy. You can muscle test a rock. Rocks are about two, I think, they're on their energy level, but everything has some energy,
Yeah.
So
And there are some like quartz that are much higher, and they're higher calibration, I would think, like some quartz crystals.
right, the
Aren't
crystals are the best.
Oh
My
yeah.
sister, but Laverne and I, my sister, who's passed
Uh-huh.
now, but when I first moved from East Tennessee to Memphis, we would go over to Little Rock and Hot Spring, Arkansas, and not Little Rock, but Hot Spring, and dig crystals. And you could walk along in the ground and just kick the dirt and the crystals would pop up. They were
Oh yeah.
everywhere. And then
Right.
we started going and digging and everything.
Uh-huh.
Then Laverne and I met this Indian that hung out there a lot. And so she started talking to him. We went somewhere, we found these two Indian pipes, a peace pipe. She got a peace pipe,
Wow.
and mine was for healing. I decided
Uh-huh.
I was going to have a healing pipe. Well, anyway, so we went back to him, and he blessed us, and he said, "Now you are pipe carriers. That means you can do ceremonies and stuff." Well, Laverne and I started doing these great ceremonies. I mean, we
Wow.
would have 30 or 40 people come to these things. We'd be out in the front yard in Memphis, and people go, "What? We're out there dancing, playing the drums." This is back in like 89,
Yep.
maybe
Yep.
90,
Yep.
1990 at the
It
latest.
got really busy in the 90s too, I think.
Yeah,
Things got really picked up
right.
fast.
Well, in
Yeah.
87, or was it 87, Harmonic Convergence,
Harmonic convergence.
they
Yeah.
had that at the Peabody, and I went to that. And
Yep.
that's when I really committed myself to working with
Hmm.
the angels.
I
That's
get
when
you.
I said I was going to do it. I was going to help everybody that I could. I wanted to make a difference in people's lives because I wanted to give back because
Hmm.
I knew, when I asked the angels about what can I do to get back there? When I leave here, how can I come and be with you again?
Uh-huh.
And
Uh-huh.
they said, Pam, just be your best. Be your best mother, your best
Yep.
friend, your best wife, your best employee, or whatever. Just be your best of everything. That's all you have to do. And so I've done my best to live up to that. But
Mhm.
anyway, remember, what was it that we heard Dr. Nelson, I sent you something. He was talking about our bodies.
Mhm.
It's so magnificent. And we have had, no one has ever helped us to learn about it. That, like I
Right.
said, they kept all this stuff secret, that you can do all this stuff to your body. How come? But that's how they made their living. Most people wouldn't even have believed it. You
Yeah.
could do those
Yeah.
things back
Yeah.
then at that time. That you can
That's
just
very true.
test
That's very
somebody's
true.
body and tell if they're sick with cancer or anything. But
Uh-huh.
the answers all lie within us, and it's
Mhm.
always been there, and it's being discovered by us. But when I teach the Power Reflex Method, I just go through all of this, and I take people just like me on the journey because I was
Uh-huh.
hypnotherapist for years. So I hypnotize people and take them back to meet their subconscious and find out what the child really wants. Because our subconscious will tell you what she wanted. My child wanted to play. She said, "We don't ever play," and I just went. So I did that every day. I was up playing. We was going out eating, drinking lattes, taking walks, and stuff. That I thought, well, I don't have time to do that. But I
Uh-huh.
knew that made her happy. So I
Sure.
started doing things for me because
Hmm.
I said, well, I'm doing it for her. And I thought, look at that. But that's the key.
That
Because
is the
when Sweet
yeah.
Pea, my inner child, my little girl inside, Dr. Holly, when he was teaching us about the subconscious mind, he said that one day he was doing this class and he said these three Indians, American Indians, came and sat down.
Hmm.
They sat in the very back of the class. And he said, when he got through talking and everything, he said they came up to him. They said, did you know your subconscious mind is just a little child inside of you? And that's when he got it.
Okay. So
So
when the person is ready, the messenger brings the message.
yeah, yeah, right, absolutely.
That's right. Yeah.
And so he started, working with it
Hmm.
that way too, and teaching people how to
Cool.
because when you take care of your subconscious mind, which does everything for you,
Yeah.
but it just knows that it's heard, that it's loved, and
Hmm.
that its needs are met. Its
Hmm.
needs are your needs, but it's the needs that we deny ourselves because we don't think we're worthy or we have the time or we can do this. I've
Yeah.
got all this other stuff to do. I can't take care of that.
Hmm.
But I guess
Hmm.
I get to do it because I'm single and just me and my
Yeah.
cat.
It's your turn
And
to do that. Yeah.
yeah,
A couple of things I wanted to bring up because you mentioned them. The harmonic convergence. I really would mark that as my time of complete entry into this stuff. So that was the summer. Was it the summer solstice or it was around that time? It was in the summer of
it was
'87.
of
Yeah,
87. Yeah.
yeah. And
Well,
I
did you
went to
do
a
it?
ceremony there
Did
with,
you?
yeah,
Look,
there were
but see, you
pagans.
were already into it then, weren't you? Into the
Oh yeah, a
metaphysics
little
and
bit, but
stuff.
that really solidified it for me. That solidified the entire thing at that time. Yeah. And I remember in 2002 or 3, Keith buying the book Power versus Force. And he's telling me, oh, this book is so good. He calibrates everything. And I'm like, what are you even talking about? I didn't know. And he did the thing with the arm testing,
Yeah.
and because as a chiropractor, they would do that to see about your neck and other things. They ask you a question, they push down, see if you can push down or not. And I thought, wow, this is fascinating. So what this does, not just this, but that whole thing with the arm is consolidated into this
That's
thing you
it.
carry with you
Yeah.
all the time anyway.
Hmm.
And you don't have to tell someone to put their
Right.
arm out. But and he told me this is the best thing he'd ever read at that time because it wasn't something everybody knew.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, isn't that great that but see, when we first started, like I started muscle testing when I was doing shiatsu, but that was
Uh-huh.
just with the arm and everything.
Right.
And then when I first met these doctors, they had just learned to do this themselves and they were still doing the arm test. And then they started using this test with me.
Ah, okay.
And so I said, I want to learn that. And so Dr. Morgan, he just loved me because I sent him a ton of clients. He taught me all this stuff and taught me how to read the body. And
Yeah.
I was so blessed back then. I didn't know what was going on, but I realized I was really being prepared for
Hmm.
what I'm doing
For what you're
now.
going to do.
But
Yeah.
I told him that I wanted to share this. So I went to Unity to the church and talked to the minister, and
Hmm.
he came, and this other chiropractor came, and they loved it. They loved it. I got out there and was telling people about muscle testing and all this stuff, and he'll ways of it and everything. Which so it was so great for them to support me. But see,
Yeah.
I thought again, why are they keeping all this secret? When we can
Yeah.
learn this. But
Right.
I just want to say to everybody, it's saved my life and it can help so
Yeah.
many people. I am working on a book. I'm going to
Oh,
write
good.
down everything I
Yep.
can. You know what? That's what I did most last night. Is thank God we're doing this because I made all these notes about what I want to say in this book so I can go through it. And so it was just perfect timing.
Good.
It
Good.
inspired me to get on it and make it
Yeah.
happen
Yeah.
because I kept saying
We
I'm
all
going to
need
do
that
that.
little nudge to get us going a little bit more too. So
Yeah,
there you go. And I have to say that those people who have come to see Pam on my show um, have been amazed at how she does what she does and have had, I want to say, things have been cleared and worked on in the body, in the emotion codes. She also can tell you if you have an entity that hangs around that, maybe a ghost you picked up, or maybe there's a deep wound that you had earlier in your life.
Wall.
Yeah.
Any trauma. This is
Any
so
trauma.
good for PTSD, any of that, any traumatic things. And
Correct.
there's all kinds of ways people work with removing trauma, but this is so quick to just go to it, delete it out here. And if it comes back, then usually it doesn't. It'll come from another time. It might be the same
Could be
emotion,
another wound.
but
Yeah.
it will come in again. So it works.
But we do have to say that Pam is not a doctor, and what she does is for entertainment purposes only, because that's what we have to say for this. But it's amazing. It's amazing.
Well, I love to entertain people.
Yeah, I love that you entertain them. So what I do want you to know is that Pam and I have been discussing doing a class for this method, where Pam is a teacher for this method. And we haven't got all the things up and going, but it will be a Power Reflex Method class. Is that what you would call it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what it's called.
Yeah. And I imagine that, it may be 1 or 2 sessions. I'm not sure how we want to set it up yet, but it will be on a Zoom call. And so let me know so I can let Pam know, if you're interested in something like this. We're looking at
probably be 3 classes.
3 classes?
3 classes. I can usually get people knowledgeable enough and the information they need to really do it. But the thing is, it's just the practice, and you just do it, and then
that's right. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Absolutely. And if you have, much like we have practice sessions in different groups on YouTube for people who have done the Akashic Records and want to practice reading, others for that. And also we have people who are working on their psychic abilities or their mediumship abilities. There is a chance that you can practice these sorts of things with other people. And I know that it is more helpful even. Pam only sees your name on here. So she's very good at what she does, but she does.
It's not, what I'm picking up is their vibration.
Okay, so you don't have to see
I'm
people.
picking up the frequency. Is what we're really we're doing when we're doing this. I didn't know I could do it either until one day I was wanting to check somebody out, and I just went through them. They weren't with me. I hadn't talked to them in a long time, and I just want to see where they were. And then when I called them, I was right on.
Yeah, okay.
Because it was a friend.
Good. Yeah.
And so that's how I learned that I could do that.
Sure.
But when you tuned in, my energy is tuned into yours. I can stand across the room and muscle test all my plants and see if they need water.
They need water or not.
I don't even have to touch it. I just say, "You dry?" And my fingers go, "Oh no, okay, you're good." But they're everything, I can, my cat, I can do a healing on animals. Animals are the best to work with. They don't have a barrier, so I can muscle test
there's
them
no
real quick.
suspension of
And they carry trapped emotions and heart walls themselves, traumas, everything. So it's always good when you get a new animal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can get a clearing, because sometimes they're depressed, sometimes they're mad. In fact, my big granddaughter, she was telling me that her cat, she had a new cat, but it would not let her husband touch it. It just runs from it and growls and scratches and everything. And I said, "Well, say I am." I said, "What's your cat's name?" She said, I forget what it was. I'm Cat. And I said, "Okay." And I said, "Well, it has an entity." She said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." So I said, "Well, let's clear this entity off of it," and which we did. And then I said, "Well, let me know." Of course she did. Finally called her up, and I said, "Well, how's it going with you and the cat and your husband?" She said, "You know what, Mimi?" She said, "We came home. That cat came and rubbed around on his legs and his head on and rubbed on him." I promise you, this stuff.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It is. There's so many cool things that you can do to help for our babies, our fur babies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's wonderful.
What to feed them, everything. Everything has energy. Would this be good for them? There's so much you can do with it. And I use it for everything because I do,
Right.
I remember the other day I was wanting go find something for my great granddaughter for her birthday, and it was she wanted a pink ballerina dress. I'm not going to find that. Well, I got in the car. I was going to go to Woodinville, and then something said, go down to that little Threads that's in Redmond for the children. And Small Threads it's called. Walked in. They're sticking out almost by itself with this little pink tutu dress, her ballet dress. And it was her size, 3 tall. I mean, it's like, I
Oh my
feel so
goodness, how
angel-bodied.
perfect.
I know.
Yeah.
And $10 almost. Anyway, I paid a lot more for that, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
she absolutely loved it. But see, it's just things like that you can do with muscle.
Right.
Because I kept saying, would it be for my high school? I always said to go to Woodinville, or should I go here? And I kept going, go down there. But I kind of got the message, but I also wanted to go out and do some big shopping, I guess.
Well, I don't blame you. Yeah.
But anyway.
Woodinville has good shopping. That's true. But yeah, that's wonderful. And it's always wonderful if you can get a bargain.
Yes, right. And honey, everything. And, I also, I don't know, I use it for everything. Should I go here? Should I go there? Should I call this person? Because you can say, it would be for my high school, call so-and-so. And you know what I've done? I've asked before and it'd say no, and I go ahead and call it, and they wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
Okay. So sometimes you knew I wasn't going to talk to him anyway. So anyway, it never fails me.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful gift to have and to share. And we all adore you, and everybody looks forward to you coming on. But it would be nice if they could try it themselves. So let's hold out hope that we'll get some folks that are interested.
Yeah, that would be great. We'll work on that, and I'll work on my end with it too.
Okay, sounds like a fair deal. Anyway, thank you everybody for being here with us today, and have Pam having the chance to do some chatting without us having a lot of chat in the chat, so she could tell her story a little bit better. But we'll be back next Monday. Next Monday, we'll be back for readings. And thank you, Pam. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.